Welcome to This Week in Jump Retro,
I'm true.
and I'm Ryan. And this week we'll be talking about Dragon Ball Z.
For a lot of people, this was their starter anime. They wanted to be Goku. They wanted to shoot Kamehameha
Kamehamehas.
waves out of their hands. Everyone wants to do it. It was a gigantic boom of anime in the West, and Dragon Ball Z really spearheaded that. It wasn't the first one, but it definitely got the ball rolling for a majority of young kids.
Yeah, I often consider this like we're considered like the second wave of anime fans because there were like older people who had already seen stuff like Astro Boy and Speed Racer. They didn't really know. There were some people who were like hardcore into it who knew that it was from Japan, but there were people who just saw it as like a cartoon show. And then Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon came out in the 90s, and then that was like a boom. Of course, Z didn't really take off that well initially. Like, they did have an initial run. They showed some of the episodes. I remember when I was probably about 4 or 5, and I caught some of the old episodes. They would be airing them like on Saturday mornings, and I was like, this show is awesome, and I would just watch it through to the end. And then it disappeared off of the airwaves because I didn't have Cartoon Network back then. And then, like, Toonami didn't pick it up for, like, several years after that.
Yeah, Toonami was barely picking up stuff like Yu Yu Hakusho, Sailor Moon, and back then they used to show a lot of music videos from different places around the United States and from Europe as well. So they weren't really established as the place for the West to watch anime. They were just there as the place to show unique shows.
Yeah, they were more like battle and action oriented back then. They used to show like
Definitely,
Super Friends.
definitely.
I never watched it back when they were showing Super Friends. I didn't even know that was still like considered like Toonami. And then they changed over to having like Tom, and then that's when Dragon Ball Z became like super big.
Cowboy Bebop in there as well.
Oh, for the night stuff, the adult stuff, for
Yes.
Adult Swim, when they had like the not safe for work stuff.
I thought that was still Toonami.
There was the adult block and then the child block.
Yes.
There were two different blocks.
This was
they
before
did.
it was called Adult Swim,
Yeah, and then they branded it differently after a while.
which was a good thing because you knew when. Oh,
Yeah, kids to turn off the TV.
yeah, it's time to turn off the TV. You can't watch this.
But yeah, harboring back to Z, I have so many positive memories of Z, and I've gone back and I've rewatched it, and I still enjoy it.
But yeah, like you said, there's so many good memories of Dragon Ball Z. Even now, like people
Still talk
make
about
still
it.
talk about it. They still talk about the Frieza arc. They still talk about
Cell.
Cell. They still talk about Boo. And with Dragon Ball Super, at least right now, wrapping up
It's
in the dub.
oh yeah, the dub is barely finishing. That's
Yeah.
correct.
So people are still going. Some people who only watch the dub, there's still new episodes coming out, and they're great. The English dub is still great for these. Some people prefer Goku's voice in the Japanese.
Nozawa.
Some people prefer it in English, which is Christopher Sabat. No,
Sean Schimmel
Sean Schemmel. Christopher Sabat
is
is
Piccolo and
Piccolo Vegeta. And I'm okay with Japanese Goku because he, to me, started off as a very jokey kind of character and really free spirited. So his high pitched kind of voice.
He sounds
worked.
more. If you read the subs, he looks more. He talks more like a hick, and because he's from the country.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that he would talk like that. He has less country bumpkin in the U.S. version. I'm fine with both. I still love the screams that Sean does.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
His scream for Super Saiyan 3 transformation. There's a reason why that video on YouTube has millions of views. Is because I've gone back and rewatched that scene at least 10 times. Just because I love the transformation scene. Even with like the random interruptions from like you have like Trunks being like, I better go, and Hercule just falling over himself, and you just hear Goku going the entire time. It's still great.
Yeah.
I don't care if people call it scream porn. It's great.
It's dedication to that art form. Definitely kudos to you.
He passed out in the booth, I think, during that.
Yeah, that's dedication, but gotta watch out.
But there also is the Dragon Ball spinoff, Heroes, the Heroes anime. It's like they're like little, almost like 10-minute videos, and it's just like basically fan service.
Ah, okay.
It's great. Like they have Golden Cooler.
Okay.
They have the
Not the kind of fan service I was thinking of, but okay.
other kind of fan service.
Okay.
You also have the oh my god, the what am I thinking of? Oh, Goku is Priest Goku. Like the angels
No idea.
from Super.
Okay.
The Grand Priest, you know, the
Okay.
one that's like the father of Whis
Yes,
and all the other
yes,
angels.
yes.
Yeah, Goku apparently has that outfit in that, and has been able to like pretty much master Ultra Instinct as that in the Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball Super Heroes or whatever it is, the most recent one that came out. Yeah, he was in that, and then he was still getting bodied by another opponent who's even more powerful than that.
Wow.
But he was like, then they introduced like an evil Saiyan, and this guy was like super powerful, and he was like Super Saiyan 3. It was crazy. There was like a lot of crazy stuff going on in that.
Yeah, so as you can see, Dragon Ball Z is still very much in the now. It's still trying to bring people in, brand new people. I think it definitely did that with Super.
Yeah, there's
100%.
people that are going back and revisiting Z because of Super.
Yeah.
Because there's kids that are growing up with Super, and they're like, "Whoa, what's Dragon Ball Z?" That's why they did like Z Kai, back in like 2011 or was it 2008? I don't remember. Put the date here for Kai. But I still like the original version of Z, even with all of the filler that you get in there.
Oh yes.
I like seeing Gohan on his journey, like in the early part of the Saiyan arc. I enjoyed
Because Gohan for Z was a brand new character. At the end of Dragon Ball,
yeah, Goku just gets married, and then nothing. You
that's
have
it.
to see what comes after.
so Goku from first episode riding in on his golden Nimbus, like, oh, who's that behind you? Like, oh, this is my son.
I
Like-
think the audience reaction. Well, if you'd seen Dragon Ball before seeing it, see, we didn't get Dragon Ball originally.
No.
It was all just Z. So we were already like, oh, Gohan's just a regular character, and then if you go back and watch Dragon Ball, you're like, oh, I can see how that'd be like kind of surprising, and why
Yes.
everybody freaked out, why Goku had a kid.
Yeah, and Goku has a lot of love for the human who found him, so he named his son after Goku's adoptive father,
Yeah.
Gohan. Kind of like going back to Dragon Ball. That made me feel really good inside. Just even Goku has no sentimental side, even though he's a blundering idiot. His heart's always in the right place.
Yeah, his intentions are always good.
Yeah, but we've been singing the praises of Dragon Ball Z. We can go for hours on that, but I think we need to talk about some of the things where Dragon Ball Z are a little more controversial.
Okay.
So to start off, one that I was disappointed with is Raditz.
The underutilization of Raditz.
Yes, Raditz could have been a complete center point for Z in its entirety. Could have been the crazy uncle who tries to corrupt Gohan. He could have been the kind of like he could have been the replacement for Vegeta, as getting bodied by Goku, getting healed up, and going against Frieza, and having his whole redemption arc. Like, Raditz could have had that as well. We barely got introduced to his character other than, yeah, I'm an idiot Saiyan and I'm going to take over the world. Like, Raditz could have been so much more. He still had his tail as an adult. The size and strength of his giant ape form would have been enough, if he had it on him, to destroy entire cities by himself.
True. Everybody on Earth at the time. Definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have wanted Raditz to really been around.
Really?
I know a lot of people wanted him around because they also like wrote fan theories where him and Launch would have been together, and they created a character named Ranch.
That's pretty funny, but most of the characters' names in Z
Are puns.
and Dragon Ball are puns or making
Reference to
fun.
something. All the Saiyans are named after vegetables,
Yeah.
and they come from planet Vegeta,
Yeah.
which originally they came from planet Salada.
And now in Super, there's
You have Caulifla
Yeah.
and all of the other ones. Kaba. It's just like,
It's-
it works.
it's
it
funny.
works. It makes you remember them. It really does. It's
how do you spell vegetable? Vegetable.
Vegetable.
That's how I had to learn how to spell that word out as a little kid, and it worked.
I don't know.
It also makes me laugh whenever
Hmm.
I go out to eat and I see something that specifically says it has vegetables.
I don't know. I don't think I would have wanted Raditz around. I think having Vegeta do that was better because it also made the Frieza arc work a little bit better. Because it kept Vegeta as like the one who had to suffer under Frieza. He was more persecuted. It didn't seem like Raditz suffered the brunt of Frieza's
No.
like everybody gave Vegeta a lot harder of a time than they've given Raditz. I don't know if it was true or not.
I think that
he seemed like he
might have
seemed
been
more prejudiced towards Vegeta.
I can see that, being of former nobility
Mm-hmm.
and then just being
Reduced to a foot soldier.
yeah. I can see
How
your
everybody-
pride would just be stripped of you.
Yeah, because this also made Vegeta the prideful. Like he was royalty, so he's the prideful character, and that's always been his strong suit and his downfall.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're too prideful and you're not able to take anything with humility, you're not going to be able to succeed.
That's why one of the cardinal sins is
pride.
right there. Boo is definitely gluttony. Boo or Goku.
Okay, so the major thing from Z, just from the manga and everything that is still like all the canon stuff, just the Great Saiyan Man. I do not really care for the Great Saiyan Man. I like him as comical relief, but it seemed like the story was going to be going in a different direction, and then they're like, okay, nobody's really gravitating towards Gohan like this. We need to go back to using Goku, so how can we get Goku back into the fray of things?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you there. I really wished the prophecy was right that Gohan was the prodigy,
Well, he could have taken out Super Buu, honestly.
Yes.
He gets too. He did the same thing with Cell. He could have just focused on him and defeated him, but he wasn't able to get his true potential properly and just couldn't focus. It's been shown time and time again that he's never able to do that. I mean, even in Super, he doesn't do it either.
But the growth of him from
He has amazing potential.
Yeah, from Z and just to the Frieza arc, being able to withstand punishment from Vegeta and from all the Frieza foot soldiers.
Oh yeah, like even as a kid, he was tough.
Yeah, he knocked out Raditz.
Yeah, he even fought a little bit with Frieza too. Like,
oh yeah. Like
Gohan was Kid Gohan was cool.
Yeah, I like Super Gohan.
Oh, you mean like the ultimate form with just the one hair forward?
Yes.
When he was fighting Super Buu?
Or like, I mean, like in Super Dragon Ball Super,
where he's like a student, or where he's
like
the tournament,
where like he's a student, where he's educated and taking care of his family.
Yeah, I think he's a businessman now in Super. Sorry,
yeah.
He did go to school and he started doing. He's a businessman now.
Yeah,
in Super,
he's still good. He's still
He's what his mom wanted him to be, and he's still able to fight.
And he's happy
like
with it. And he's happy with it.
He's not a battle maniac like his father is.
No.
He still enjoys training and stuff like that, but I feel like he should go back to training because I think that'd be really cool if he was actually like able to go like Super Saiyan God and everything like that, and able to like fight on par with them. So that way you'd have like the three major Saiyans all able to battle. Because I have no idea what they're doing with Trunks and Goten and Super, but
because as
they didn't really utilize them a whole lot because they could only do Gotenks Super Saiyan 3.
yeah, and that's it. Like Galactic Donuts, like is hilarious, and
But
it's still very strong.
The power escalation has just like
Yeah, it's
ruled them out
exponential. It's exponential at that
as
point.
viable allies.
And also, their
I think they'll make
naivety
Yeah.
really gets at them for focusing.
And I think Broly will be that like next thing. Is like they'll introduce Broly, and Broly will either be an ally or go. I think he's going to be an ally to them.
I
going
definitely
forward.
hope. I definitely hope so. Because how the Broly movie set it up and ended, it feels as though
Call me Kakarot.
yeah, if people continue on, supporting Dragon Ball Z, then I can see them putting more money and resources for getting Broly and building him as a character rather than just a rampaging maniac.
What is your favorite character from Z?
Okay. It's very controversial. Krillin.
Yeah, you mentioned that when we were at the movie. So
Yeah.
I'm curious as to your explanation.
Okay. Krillin. He is from his introduction in Dragon Ball, he was introduced as the comic relief. He was introduced as a smarmy, kind of charismatic fool. He knew of the world, but he was kind of lazy.
Mm-hmm.
He, in Z, he grew into his own skin. He knew he was a coward, but he knew when stuff needed to get done.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, he learned of his friends. He has had to watch his friends live and die, have children, get risen from the dead, to die again. Like, emotionally for Krillin, this has been devastating. But he keeps a smile on. He has a family of his own now. He is happy where he is, and he's human.
And he's a police officer.
That's why he is my favorite. He is literally just human.
Oh, okay. So you mean like he's the most well-adjusted out of all of the Z fighters? Like, he seems like your everyday person.
He seems that with dedication, with enough gumption, you can be one of the strongest fighters. One that is meant to represent your universe. He was chosen as a regular human. That's why I believe Krillin is so good. His ability to manipulate ki, he has
Tian Han's solar flare,
he has
which
a
everybody does.
solar flare, but
he also has the Kienzan, the destructive disc.
yeah, he has that. He has his ballistic barrage, I believe is what it's called. He just shoots out all of his.
Depending on the game or the manga, yeah, you could have different titles for the attacks. But yeah, I get what you're saying. The multi-key blast attack,
where they hit. There's homing ones, and they're also landmines. He's used 3 different kinds, at least from what I remember.
Piccolo has Hell Zone grenade, which I like. As far as like attacks go, I like that one better.
Yeah,
because it's just like he just throws attacks up in the air, and they all come in and collide.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
Yeah, like Krillin, he even had the chance. He even used the Spirit Bomb as well. It was a smaller version, but he was still able to use it against Vegeta. Because Goku, with his last bit,
gave him the energy, and then he was able to still manipulate it and toss it.
Yeah.
Or throw it.
This is just Krillin, just a regular human, and he's able to do all of these things. And he has only died once.
Krillin's died 3 times. What are you talking about?
Has he? Okay.
He died from Tambourine in Dragon Ball.
Okay.
He dies from Frieza.
Frieza being impaled on his
And he
on
dies
the
from
second
Boo.
one. Oh, right.
He's died 3 times.
Okay. Anyways, but
He's... I mean, to be fair, he got killed by bosses twice.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the only time that he got killed by, like, an underling was in Dragon Ball. He got obliterated in Z by Frieza. Yeah, no, he got owned.
Yeah, like that's
leading to Goku's transformation.
Yeah, that's why.
So he was
Krillin was great.
He was an integral part to Goku defeating Frieza.
Mm-hmm.
If Krillin hadn't been his childhood friend and they hadn't grown up together, he wouldn't have had the motivation and the anger from Krillin's passing. He might have just for his ally, but it hurt him more. So Goku was pushed over that edge, leading him to become the original Super Saiyan.
Yeah, so
that we know.
That is my favorite character, and yours?
Oh, Goku.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to compete with Goku. I like
really
Piccolo
is.
too. I like Piccolo and Vegeta too, just because they were villains, and they were able to turn around and become good guys, and I like their attitudes, but Goku's I like his charismatic attitude, his never getting bogged down with anything, never giving up. Those are good values to instill into people. Hard work, dedication. You got to remember that he was the low class Saiyan, so he was treated as garbage. He would have if it was in the army, he would have been treated as garbage. Mm-hmm. But I mean, he wasn't in what they show with the Broly movie, where they retcon everything, where they show that he was actually just in his home's pod and not in the royal area where Broly and Vegeta were. Just shows like how it was basically classist. If you had a low power level, you weren't really given any priority. I assumed it would have been the same. I mean, it was the same thing in the original Broly movie, the Legendary Super Saiyan, when they have Goku and Broly next to each other, and then Goku's power level was like a 3 or something, and then Paragus' Broly had like a 5,000 or something like that. It was some huge number in comparison. And so they're like, oh, wow, that's such a high power level. But, yeah, Goku, low-class Saiyan. Because he didn't start getting strong until Z. Like super powerful. Yeah. Like, Z had the escalation where everything got ridiculous. I still love all the escalation.
One of the first tournaments after training with Master Roshi...
Oh, yeah, like every tournament got crazier.
Yeah, but one of his first tournaments, all he had to do was just flick his finger... and the person was knocked out of the ring.
Yeah.
In Dragon Ball,
they have the power level, the charts for like each part of it. And I remember him being around like the 100s or something like that. He was like pretty like that's when like 100 would do crazy stuff. Like Tien Shinhan destroys the entire stadium's floor.
Kiko Ho.
That there's I was gonna say, or you can say the Tri-Beam for the US version, and destroys it. And Goku's still able to jump up and attack him in that tournament. And then the following one was the one with Piccolo. And Piccolo becomes giant, and they're still fighting each other. Like, it's... That escalation was considered to be ridiculous. And then it's like, okay, how can we one-up that and make it bigger?
Yeah. I'm glad they kind of got rid of some of those abilities, but I wish they kept some of them. Like
I don't know why Piccolo can't ever grow. I guess
Tien Shinhan had like 6 arms at one point.
I thought it was 4. Was it 4 or was it 6? I remember 4.
It might have been 4.
And then he also has the ability to make multiple copies of himself. Same thing with Piccolo. Piccolo has the same additional power.
And like that would have been really cool. Like imagine Tien Shinhan with the using that cannon with multiple arms, using like 2 at once, making a special shape, maybe like 2 diamonds on top of each other, or a rhombus. That would be really neat.
No, it'd be a diamond. Yeah, you're right. Diamond.
Yeah.
Diamond or rhombus shape.
Yeah. But it'd be really neat if they use some of those older abilities.
I think they did it because it saves animation costs not to do it.
I guess. Yeah, 4 arms moving
like
independently of each other. Well, look at Machamp from Pokemon.
Yeah. But they I guess they figured it wasn't like practical.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Goku definitely is my favorite. Yeah. Now...
Definitely a lot of growth, a lot of new powers, and...
He's still the same character that you got from the beginning of Dragon Ball.
Yes.
Still... A lot of videos have been discussing this, but yeah, he's basically what's considered to be a flat character, which is everybody around him reacts to himself. And he stays the same throughout. Everybody else goes through character development because of him being the way that he is. And
Krillin, prime example of that. He's changed so much.
yeah, he was Goku's original rival when they were kids. And then they became really good friends after that.
And that's why Goku wanted him to join. Because he knew his power might not be comparable to the rest of the team, but his mind goes above and beyond everyone else.
He definitely had a really solid strategy, even though he was like incredibly weak. It's like when you're playing a game and you know that you can get one shot. As long as you play it perfectly right and don't get hit, it's not a big deal.
Prime example, Monster Hunter. Running so long, we're going to put a picture up of just Ryan's collection of Dragon Ball Z.
Just the manga and then the like DVDs that I own.
Yeah. It's been running for quite some time, so there have been a lot of different arcs, a lot of single stories by themselves, but some arcs are known far and wide in just shonen in general.
Yeah, the original shonen formula got kind of retooled because of Dragon Ball.
Yeah. Like lots of different arcs in Dragon Ball Z. There's so many to pick and choose, but I have to go with the big one. I have to go with the Frieza arc with Namek. From when Goku is barely recovering to the point where Namek is blowing up.
Oh, okay. So like right after Ginyu and all of that's already concluded.
Yes.
So like the final part of the Frieza arc where it's just basically them, Vegeta and Krillin and Gohan and Piccolo, them fighting against Frieza to stall for time until Goku comes out, and then Goku fighting until the end.
With Goku fighting until the end, turning into the Super Saiyan.
Yep.
That part, I can't fathom anything in my memory that's better than that moment when I watched it. When I was a kid, I was watching Dragon Ball Z in bits and spurts, and I would skip some episodes because they would be shown kind of randomly sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I would try to piece things together. I got some Ginyu stuff mixed up before, but once I got to a regular schedule, you couldn't move me away from the TV. Having Vegeta, who kind of turned a leaf and turned traitor to Frieza, just being taken out. Him asking Dende for assistance. Like that's a prideful Saiyan prince, and he was groveling to one of the few last living remnants of the planet Namek. Like he gave away his pride, the small amount that he had left in those moments. Everyone was getting taken down. It was so disheartening.
Mm-hmm.
And Frieza barely even breaking a sweat. It was fantastic. That arc was just fantastic there at the end.
I probably have to agree with Frieza being the best arc. It's hard not to.
Yeah.
It's really hard not to. A really close second is the Cell arc, obviously. The Cell games from the moment when Goku steps onto the stage, fights with Cell, and then lets Gohan take over. And then Gohan basically just raging out when Android 16 gets his head crushed. All the way up to the Son and Father Kamehameha at the end. It's all good. Super Saiyan 2, all good. Because there's like the three major arcs. You have the Frieza, the Cell, and the Buu arc. You have the sub arcs in between that. You have like technically the Saiyan saga. You have the the non-canon one, which is like the garlic one that's in between Frieza and Cell, or the Android saga. But yeah, I have to go Frieza. It's introduction to the Super Saiyan. We're introduced to the concept. We see how it is, and then how much of a power boost that is. Where Goku is doing some good work to Frieza.
Yeah. And Frieza has the ability and the strength to destroy the planet. And he's okay with this because he knows
he can survive in space.
He can survive in space and won't die from his own attack of that magnitude.
Yeah. That's where you get... Well, in Dragon Ball, Roshi destroyed the moon.
In Dragon Ball Z, Piccolo destroyed the moon too.
I know.
We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about Akira Toriyama and his forgetfulness of certain aspects and things. Launch. Gone from Z.
Yeah.
So, she's put on the manga for Z on the banner, but she's not in it at all. I don't remember her ever being in Z. Period.
I don't remember that either.
Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, but yeah, the Cell saga, being introduced to the androids and just seeing their development, we didn't even. My close second was definitely Trunks' introduction.
Oh, when he kills Frieza and King Cold?
Yeah, and he just shows up and goes Super Saiyan and destroys.
That's a nice
people.
twist. Because, seeing that for the first time, it blows your mind. Because you're like, wait, there's another Super Saiyan?
Yeah.
Where'd you come from?
Where were you?
I wasn't born yet. I was in the future.
Yeah. That whole concept, as a kid, blew my mind. As an adult, like, I'll accept it.
And I think that's why a lot of people, including myself, still like Future Trunks. Kid Trunks is okay, but Future Trunks definitely was cooler.
Definitely. That's why they keep putting him in games.
That's why they put him in Dragon Ball Super. And
in Xenoverse, and Xenoverse 2.
Yeah, he's your time patroller guy.
Trunks.
Representative guy.
Yeah. People love him, and he's our mutual friend Josh. That's his favorite character, is Future Trunks.
I like Future Trunks. I like him hulking out, even though it's pointless because he loses his speed when he's like ultimate Super Saiyan. And he basically is where they got the design for Broly, with him like hulking out and his eyes going white. And now Broly's canon, so...
Yeah. I think there can still be even more Super Saiyan transformations. Like, we've seen so many, from ones that are canon, are not canon anymore.
Yeah, I was gonna say GT's Super Saiyan 4 is considered to be an alternate timeline, so it's canon within that timeline, which is kind of confusing. Also, I should mention that Super Saiyan 4 and Super Saiyan Blue also exist in the Dragon Ball Heroes anime. Now, this isn't to say that this is like 100% going to be like gospel, but the Super Saiyan 4 from that was actually stronger than Super Saiyan Blue.
Huh.
Because they actually had a fight between the evil Saiyan. Goku was... Our regular timeline for Super Goku was fighting a Super Saiyan Blue and wasn't able to do as much as Super Saiyan 4 Goku was. I don't know why, but that was a thing.
Okay.
Also, they introduced Super Saiyan 4 Vegito. That doesn't exist.
Super Saiyan 4 Vegito?
Yes.
Not Super Saiyan Blue Vegito?
No. Because they had... Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta came into superheroes.
Okay.
Dragon Ball superheroes. And they fused using the Patoras. So they became Vegito instead of Gogeta. Because they have the different names for the different types of fusion.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Up to that point, Vegito had only, came out as Super Saiyan. And then Super Saiyan Blue. This was the introduction of a Super Saiyan 4 Vegito instead of Gogeta. Because they did Gogeta in the anime of GT to beat the Omega Shenron. No, sorry. They were going to beat Omega Shenron, and then they got kind of cocky, and then they messed it up.
Yeah.
It seems like that's a reoccurring theme.
Well, yeah. When you have two nearly polar opposite personalities, yeah, there's gonna be some conflict. The free spirit and the person who's my way or the highway kind of personality.
It's one of those shows that I can go back and rewatch at any given time, and I'm still gonna enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And say what you will about the pacing, I don't mind it. I don't mind the pacing.
Yeah.
I mean, you compare it with the pacing that's currently going on in other shows, and it's about the same.
Look at Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones pacing and Dragon Ball pacing, very similar. How long were the Khaleesi and the Dothraki trying to get over the sea?
I will say this: read the manga as well to see. It reads really well. It reads Toriyama for Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. It reads very fluidly because he likes to follow his art. Like your eyes glance across the page, it doesn't feel like everything is cluttered. It's pretty much as perfect as you can get. It's the idea of where like less is more. You don't need to show like every single instance of what's happening in the fight. Your mind fills in the blanks when reading it.
Yeah. Currently, we have some manga in Shonen Jump that has a lot of text, but there are some that are taking that Dragon Ball, easy to read to heart. I'd say the best one of that right now is definitely Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, where less is more.
Where
That's far as that'll go.
you're getting the point across, you're fighting, and you're making progress. Pacing's a little bit slower there, but it reads so quickly that you're waiting for the next chapter, and you read it so quickly.
It shouldn't feel like a chore to read.
No, it should be enjoyable.
That's the whole point of it.
Because there are definitely different manga that fit different molds for expectations and how they read. I would say Chainsaw Man, Dragon Ball Z read very smoothly and very quickly. You want to quickly read through the fights at your own speed, then see where they continue on. Then we have the other side, like Dr. Stone and Detective Conan.
Oh, Detective Conan.
Where
Detective Conan is text heavy. It is, but it's supposed to be because it's explaining every little detail of like what's going on. It's supposed to be expositionally heavy, which I get, but at least it works because you have the images on the panels as well.
Yes, but you also get more senses than just seeing it. They describe it in where you almost feel how cold it is in that room, how cold the body is. You get a small sense of how much blood is in the air right now. Like for Dr. Stone, when they're talking about how inventions work,
yes.
how much effort they have to put into using nearly Stone Age equipment, trying to remake modern time technology. Like you get a sense of.
Yeah, but those are like
of the normalcy of now.
Yeah, those are supposed to be like that. Now, I'd say, I think it's totally not Mark. Have you ever seen that YouTube channel?
I have not.
He sometimes does like most of his stuff is Dragon Ball, but sometimes he'll like talk about other things. And he was commenting on like how he actually showed a picture from, I think it was him. It was either him or somebody else pointed out. Maybe it was Super Eye Patch Wolf. That for the Hunter x Hunter chapters, they've been super text heavy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there was like 2 pages I remember from like one of the most recent ones that they released where it was just text in boxes and there was like no characters on the panels at all.
See, that makes me sad because Hunter x Hunter is
it's
most likely my favorite manga. There's a manga cover that I want a full-size movie poster of the one of the Mount Olympia tower where Gon's facing one way and Kilo is facing the other with the tower in the middle.
What manga volume was that?
Can't remember.
I haven't actually looked at all the manga volume covers for Hunter x Hunter, but I read it all.
Like, I love Hunter x Hunter. I am not really feeling it with so much text. If it was that much more interesting, or if the characters were introduced a couple at a time rather than trying to fit in all of them at once, trying to make them all relevant.
And that's where Dragon Ball Z excels, where it's focused.
Also, the characters are... They start off very simple, and they're very... what's the word? Not Legos, not blocky. They start off as stock characters. Like, you fit this mold, you are this stock character. Krillin started off just like, you are the comedy relief guy who thinks he's good, but in reality, you're not that great.
Okay.
But you grow from there.
Yeah.
Goku is definitely
country bumpkin.
Country bumpkin that has the strength of an ox.
And continues to grow stronger.
Yeah. Bulma was the smart, tech-savvy girl with her sassy, like, mean side.
Yeah. There were a lot of people who wanted Bulma and Goku to be together in the manga. Like, originally. Like, yeah. There was polls on it, apparently.
Of course, and that, with them being, really the only two for a while, I could see why a lot of people wanted that.
Back before Yamcha, and then Yamcha got... Oh, Yamcha.
Yamcha, what is it? Udon and Korin? What was the cat's name?
You mean Oolong?
Oolong. Not Udon. I'm hungry.
Oolong. Korin was the one that was in the tower. You have Paru, who was with Yamcha.
Paru,
or however.
Yeah.
I could never pronounce her name because she's not really super relevant.
No, but her powers are great.
The transformation stuff, which is what Oolong could do too.
Yeah, they were great. They were great abilities, even in Z, like, and Super. They came up again. They didn't, but those stayed as stock characters. They
didn't try to
flat characters.
Yeah, they didn't try to
develop them. They were just there. But most other characters in Z started off just very stock and then grew from there. Roshi, he was just the perverted hermit.
Yeah, we barely talked about Roshi at all.
Roshi was so integral for Dragon Ball, but also for Z, he played more of a part for, wisdom, also using his house constantly. But he had, he had friends now. Like, he had
he wasn't a total loner anymore.
Yeah, he didn't just have the turtle.
But yeah, if it wasn't for Roshi, then Goku wouldn't have learned the whole always knowing that there's somebody stronger, and that's just how Goku is. If there's always somebody stronger, he's going to keep training to try and catch up, or be stronger than them and beat them, and then eventually there's somebody else who's even more powerful. But Super probably will be coming back soon. I think they were going to make an announcement relatively soon about whether they're going to continue it or not. As popular as it is right now, both in the West and in Japan right now, it would be hard pressed to say that they wouldn't continue it, like, anytime soon. They probably will. Also have to mention, I still like the Bruce Faulkner score more than the Kikuchi score. As controversial as that is for everybody who loves the original music from Dragon Ball Z. I like the original music. Like, don't get me wrong, I'll still listen to it. I'll change the audio tracks for the music sometimes when I'm watching it again on DVD, which I still just have the orange bricks. I don't have the
Yeah. We'll put a
Dragon
small
Balls.
little snippet here.
So I prefer the Faulkner score. That's what I watched whenever I was able to actually watch most of Z, because, like I said, I watched some of it originally. It could have had the original music. I don't remember. I was like 4 or 5 at the time.
Yeah.
So forgive me. But I enjoyed it. I really, really did. Still like the Faulkner score. I love the Super Saiyan 3 theme, the Super Saiyan 1 transformation theme. Like, everything was great.
I listen to some remixes of Dragon Ball music in the car sometimes. Like, I understand.
Cell's theme is good. Like, all of the themes that they wrote for those characters are still pretty good. Like, I can listen to those by themselves.
Some of them are good just to relax. Some of them are good to, hype you up. And some are just good to have in the background. And you're just adding sound effects to whatever you're doing. Like, it's just good music. It's good composition.
Yes. Also have to mention, I miss Kyle Hebert doing the outro and intro for
the narrator.
Yes, his narration voice is what I hear in my head when I think of a narration voice for Z and even Z-Kai, because they have a different narrator for that one, and same thing with Super. I know that the style that they have now for the narrator is closer to how it was in the Japanese version, because I've heard the Japanese version, so I now know that they're trying to get closer to that, where it's 1-to-1 instead of just having like this next time on Dragon Ball Z. Instead of having that, they wanted to have something that was a little bit more restrained. Not because I guess they consider that to be kiddish, but
it pumped me up.
I was gonna say, it's just like, what's gonna happen?
Yeah,
what's gonna happen?
What is gonna happen? Big mean voice that's yelling at me. What is gonna happen? Tell me.
Previously on Dragon Ball Z. Like, there's a reason why people still go to his panels, and he does the voice. He'll do the narration voice all the time. And he actually made like a video with the Nostalgia Critic, where he was like narrating him in that voice as he was like walking around doing normal stuff. It was stupid, but it was great.
Yeah.
And I've met him on 2 different occasions. And he's also the voice of adult Gohan.
Okay.
So it's not like he's out of work and off of Z, but I do prefer his narration just because of how over the top it was, and it gets you pumped. And that's what the Faulkner score, I feel like, does a lot of the time. Is it just like, it gets you hyped for what's going to happen. It's like, okay, I'm good. Bring it on. It's the same reason that they used to do all of those movie trailers with this summer. They used to do it like that. Next summer, Michael Bay.
Yeah.
It worked. It worked for a very long time, and now a lot of the trailers don't even have the voice anymore.
No, they just have.
They just have.
They just have trailers.
Footage.
They just have footage, and
music.
But it pretty much shows that everything that's going to be in that movie.
Yeah, and
I wanted to turn away because we went to the movies yesterday. I wanted to turn away from the Godzilla trailer.
Oh,
I did not want to watch it.
You just wanted to go in blind.
I wanted to go more blind than
because now you know what the designs look like.
Yeah, I love it. I like it, but I think some parts. Definitely got ruined for me. That would have been
awesome to see for the first time.
Yes, absolutely.
I feel like they were doing that. God, we're on Godzilla now, and it's a Dragon Ball Z video.
Well,
I know it's just talking
giant
about
monsters, giant dragons. Shenron.
Oh, Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Z. You are a good show. You're a good anime. You're a good manga. You're great at making merchandise for sure.
People still make memes out of your content.
Yeah.
I probably will still be talking. I still reference Dragon Ball Z. Like, that's just how, like, ingrained it is into me. Like, it's... If I had more time and more space, I would probably take a picture of everything I own as Dragon Ball Z. Like, I have, like...
It would take...
a lot of
figures. It would take hours just to rearrange stuff.
To take a picture of.
To take a picture of.
So that's why I just opted for the DVDs and the manga that you'll see in the video.
We'll do that once you move.
And it's just like, oh man, Dragon Ball Z. It's near and dear to most people in our generation. And the following generation was, I would say, up until about Naruto. That's when, like, the next generation, like... came in as anime fans.
Yeah.
And even like part of our generation was part of that as well. But
absolutely.
Yeah, like right after Naruto, like the original run of Naruto before like they dubbed it Shippuden for the second part of it. And then kids started liking, I think the next major one was
Bleach.
I'm trying to think of the next quintessential thing that like every kid was obsessed like for like
Death Note.
That one was liked by a lot of people.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of like something like more rigid that people like really gravitated to like around 2010. You know what? I'll say our generation was from 95 for anime, like. That's when I started watching. It was like Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z back in like 95, 96. Watched that all the way up until the next 15 years or like 16 years. Once Sword Art was probably the next major thing that like younger kids gravitated towards. That's why like a lot of people watch Sword Art is because they grew up with Sword Art now. Where Sword Art Online has been out since like 2012. Was the first part of Sword Art. So they've been into the isekai anime, and that's why that has taken off and boomed so much, is because that's like the new thing that they all gravitated towards. Attack on Titan's kind of the same way, but I'm trying to think of something more shonen-y that people gravitated towards that they liked for the younger audience. Sword Art was that kind of like crossover stuff. But I'd say, yeah, probably Sword Art is the next like one that I can think of when I think of like ones that like got really popular over here.
Yeah. For an extended period of time.
Yeah, like it's people still dress up as Kirito.
Yeah, yeah.
They still do
those I don't know, dual swords. Definitely, they're selling them everywhere.
And I guess their next one. I don't know if the other shonen ones will ever get as big here as Z did. Honestly, Z is still around. There's still Z merch around, and some other animes come and then they just go in the West anyway.
Yeah,
you have like Black Clover. That one's doing pretty well over here right now, but I don't know if that will be the next generation's like big thing. Is like, hey, I remember Black Clover, and they grew up with Black Clover, and that's their shonen. That's what defined their generation as like anime and manga fans.
It's hard to tell, what's going to resonate with people, and what people will support financially with their wallets.
Yeah,
it's hard to tell. Obviously, we both tried to, support manga and stuff that we enjoy. Like, you've got plenty of Shonen Jump there, and a lot of manga.
Yeah, I have like 800 volumes, but if I were to own everything that I've read, it'd be somewhere in the neighborhood of like 3,000 or almost 4,000 volumes of manga that I've read.
Yeah.
Like even right now, I'm currently...
Do the math yourselves. You'll not want to know. You'll not want to spend that amount of money.
And the time. It's a lot of time. And I've been reading Slam Dunk, actually.
Oh yeah, you told me you were going to You're going to start that.
I started that on Monday. I am up to volume 11. It's good. I don't know if it's number 2 in best-selling manga in Japan at a jump. Good. It's good. It is good. The basketball games themselves are good. Like, it's... I'm seeing a lot of where Haikyuu got a lot of their stuff from.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like if I combined Haikyuu and Yu Yu Hakusho together.
Oh, okay. So more of the like school life.
Yeah, the first volume of Yu Yu Hakusho where Kuwabara is like a central part of it. But yeah, the delinquent part of that, because the main character gets in fights and stuff like that, and he has like a temper. It reminds me a lot of that Yu Yu Hakusho, like early Yu Yu Hakusho. Mm. And then if I had that as the protagonist instead of having Hinata as the protagonist.
Yeah.
So
and you're on slam dunk sports manga. I've been rewatching all of Prince of Tennis again.
I need to reread it. I actually never finished Prince of Tennis.
It's just good. And I didn't think tennis would get very shonen-y, very.
It doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like sports would work in shonen, but it does.
Some stuff very early on for Prince of Tennis, and I'm sure Slam Dunk as well. You can learn and practice, and you can do all of that. I was surprised once I was actually,
it makes
doing some of the stuff.
Yes, it makes you actually want to try it.
In that, I played tennis for a couple of years.
I played basketball.
You could actually do some of that stuff. Yeah. It's really cool. They actually teach you some stuff. I'm sure
Slam Dunk kind of does the same thing. They teach you a little bit of like what you can do and how to do it.
Yeah.
And then like what you need to do. You basically need to practice the basics.
Yeah.
Then it teaches you what a layup is, which is you just run straight towards the basket. Yeah. And throw the ball up at like just the right angle at the right time, and it should just go right in off of the backboard.
Yeah. Another series that teaches you things, or at least it used to. Food Wars.
About preparation.
They used to tell you
this is
the direction.
Yeah, you could follow it pretty much, like move for move on how they would prepare the food, instead of just, and it's done.
Yeah.
Whew, God. See, that's why this could go on forever. Like, cause it's so many tangents.
Yeah.
But back to our original.
Yeah, talking about
gushing about Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z.
I still like Yajirobe. I still like Yajirobe.
Yajirobe's good. I like Piccolo. I like even Super. I like Uncle Piccolo.
Taking care of Pan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and like Gohan still as well.
Still being a mentor.
Yeah. I like that. I like Dragon Ball Z. You've influenced so much more in the industry, and definitely other manga. Like for this first retro series, like I like it, but I think we might have to call it right here.
Yeah, it's a good place to call it because we can go on and on because it will just lead to tangents. Like that's basically what it is. Yeah. So, I don't know how much of this is gonna make it in.
That was for that was like where I was gonna like cut to you have like that was my like outro, like then you give like your outro. Like I don't know how you want to end
this. God. Okay.
Like I essentially was like like for this episode of Retro, like I thought it was good, like it's one of the top ones out there.
Oh, you mean Z?
Yeah. Like specifically talking about Z. Like give us some thought.
To close this video out. Oh, wait a second.
No, it's just you hit the table.
Oh, yeah. To close this video out, should you invest the time to watch Dragon Ball Z and read the manga? Absolutely. Everything about it has influenced countless other series. Why not see what all the hype is about and what everybody's talking about? If you've only seen the newer stuff that's a little bit faster paced, you might find it slow, but it is still a good reference and starting point for a lot of people to get into anime. It's a good example of how to do a manga and how to keep the manga fresh. Because you can go through a volume of Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z in probably like an hour, hour and a half. Like, you blow through it because it reads so well. You want to see what's going to happen. I can't say enough about how much this series just means to me. Like, I buy so much of the merch. Not because I feel like I need to like do like brand loyalty. I just genuinely am interested in everything that they've been putting out. It's a good time to be a Dragon Ball fan right now.
And read the manga, read it on the app.
Yeah, it's available on the Shonen Jump app, just $2 a month.
Yeah. Watch the dub anime, watch the sub anime. Any form is fine. Just give it a try. You'll be glad you did.